Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report on GoHofstra.com. I'm Julian Coultry, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride Wrestling team, Rob Anspach. Coach, how's it going?
Doing well.
Well, moving from the EIWAs now to the national tournament, but first we'll focus on the EIWAs. First season as a member of this conference, so first conference tournament for you guys. How'd you think it fared?
I think we did a good job down there, taking 9 guys down. The guys wrestled hard, they wrestled well, and you could see, we talk about getting better as the year goes on and seeing this improvement, and I think this weekend that happened. The guys, even when they lost, they wrestled hard. They did a really nice job out there competing. And you saw the positions where we were struggling in the beginning of the year. We've gotten better, and we were able to, come out on a lot of those positions and help guys like Frank Affrani get into 3rd and 4th place match. And Vic was just, even though he didn't, maybe the results-wise weren't as what he wanted or we wanted, he wrestled well. And the same thing with Mike Hughes. I just think overall, great job by the team. The tournament itself, what a difference. Going from the CAA to this tournament, you're sitting there in the quarterfinals and some tough matches going on, and the semifinals, and you're seeing guys that are ranked high in the country get knocked off, and it was, I think another way for us to prepare for the national tournament, which is one of the reasons we joined the EIWA. But this being our first time down there and really seeing it, I was like, wow, this is a great tournament.
Yeah, big winner on the weekend, obviously, was Joe Booth at the 165. He won the tournament in the 165-pound bout. Throughout the weekend, what sort of things did you see developing with him, and eventually in that final match, how did he get the victory?
Yeah, he was wrestling really well. He was confident. You could see the way he kind of was holding himself all weekend. He just had a confidence about him that he was going to win. There's just no way he was going to lose any of those matches. And, you saw that with his first match. And then, throughout the tournament in the finals, he goes out, he gives the initial takedown up, he's losing, kept his composure, and you just had that feeling at some point in time he was going to get it. And as the match went on, you saw him starting to take more and more control of the situations, and eventually, able to get that takedown in overtime was a huge win for him. It should guarantee him a seat out at the NCAA tournament.
Well, the other guys that obviously I think you expected going in there having decent tournaments, guys like Jamie Franco, Cody Reggirello, and Luke Veit, they didn't win their respective weight classes, but did you like what you saw from them on the weekend?
Yeah, it was, Jamie again was out there. He was in a very deep weight class. That's why they're taking 6 guys from that weight class. It was one of the best in the conference. He's in the semifinals, and he just, wrestling a kid that's very dangerous. He got caught in a position that we're not used to being in, and paid the price for it. And the wrestle-back match again, he's wrestling the guy that's very athletic, one of the top kids, in the conference, in the country, and we got to find ways to win those matches. First time we see him, now we can kind of come back and game plan a little bit, if we run into him in the national tournament. Luke had an outstanding tournament. Even in the finals, he was wrestling really well. Just didn't work out. It was one of those matches where I think it was probably a 10 or 11 minute match, and I think we controlled probably 10 of the 11 minutes and somehow lost. And we just got to be a little bit smarter when we're out to wrestle. We try and emphasize always looking to put the match away, doing those things, and that's what he was trying to do. But at some point in time, we got to take a step back and say, okay, know the situation you're in. You're in the finals. The kid hasn't been close to scoring on you the entire match. Not stall, but be smarter on your shot selection. And Cody had a great tournament. Unfortunately, he hurt his elbow a little bit. So for precautionary reason, he had already qualified the spot. There's no point in wrestling the 3rd and 4th place match. We were just looking at, okay, let's start getting him healthy for the national tournament today instead of maybe going into that 3rd and 4th place match. And aggravating it more than it already is.
Now, as far as the other guys, you mentioned Frank Affrani, but there were a lot of spots up for grabs because of moving to this EIWA, where there were 47 different bids to get the opportunity to go to the national tournament. So who do you think on the weekend surprised you, had a good tournament, but obviously didn't get that opportunity to go to the nationals?
I think the biggest one was Frank. And, he went out there, and his first match, he wrestled and looked terrible. And I was kind of like, what are you doing? Let's get this thing going. And after that, he just got on a roll. I mean, I think his next match was against a kid from Princeton who had beaten him 9-4 in the dual meet. He ends up winning 9-2. His next match, he's wrestling the kid from the number 4 seed from Cornell, and he handles him 7-2. The next match, he's wrestling the number 2 seed from Columbia, ranked 16th in the country. He wins 10-0. And then finally, for third and fourth, he's wrestling the number 1 seed. He was ranked 17th in the country and loses a 2-1 match where we were in on a takedown. He just, as the tournament went on, he was getting better and better. You could see him starting to do the things that we know he was capable of. Instead of holding positions, he was looking to score off them, and he created a lot of opportunities for him. And I think he has that confidence now moving forward. You know, if there's an outside chance that he gets an at-large bid, I mean, obviously a pretty small one, but we're going to hold on hope, and hopefully when they announce it later on today that he's one of those guys and he can continue a season. But if not, it's a guy we're going to look to build this summer and really just build off of this conference tournament so he hits next fall ready to go and thinking of not just getting to the national tournament, but being a placer out there.
Now let's move to the national tournament. Obviously, we'll start with Joe Booth because he won in the EIWA. So what do you expect to see in a very tough weight class, the 165 in nationals?
Yeah, you're going out there, and the biggest thing we got to have these guys understand is, the brackets are going to come out tonight, and everybody's going to look around and be okay. I'm in a good spot, I'm in a bad spot. There is no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's out there for a reason. They're all good.
Yep.
Okay, and you have no control over anything that's going to happen in any other weight class or any other spot in your bracket. The only thing you can control is the match you have. All we can worry about is the first match that he's going to have. He should get a seed somewhere in the 13 to 14 area, so he's going to have an unseeded guy to start with. We got to take care of that match. We can't look ahead to the next people. Joe has the ability to, be an All-American.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the thing he needs to do is focus on one match at a time, go out there and wrestle his type of matches, control what's happening, and he's going to be very good out there. If we start looking ahead, you just never know what's going to happen. And that's the same with Luke. It's the same with Cody, with Jamie, with all of them and stuff like that. They just got to really go out there, focus on one match at a time, not look past anybody, and not worry about, okay, I'm in this spot and I got the number 2 seed next. That tournament is built on upsets.
Yep.
So that's what makes it so exciting. So you can only worry about the match you have and the next one in front of you.
Now, as far as Jamie Franco goes, this is really the first year that he's not wrestling at that 133 in the national tournament. Do you think that the 125 is more made for him, or what would be the major difference from last year's tournament to this year's?
I think, again, I thought Jamie was a 125-pounder from the start.
Yep.
That's why we talked about going down there. So he spent this entire year preparing for this weekend. Whether he's at 133 or 125, you're wrestling guys that, again, they're the best guys in the country. So there's no easy weight class. You're wrestling a guy that's going to be a national champion, or you're wrestling All-Americans and things like that. So I do believe this is the best weight class for him. So in that respect, I think this is the best spot for him. But again, he's going to be going up against really good guys, and he's got to be ready to wrestle each and every guy throughout the tournament. And if he does that, he's going to give himself a chance to get on that podium.
Now, I'm sure you're obviously looking forward to all the weight classes, and right now you obviously have Franco, Vite, Ruggiero, Joe Booth, and maybe even Frank and Franti getting an opportunity to go to the tournament. But what weight class do you think you're most looking forward to in terms of the route to going further in the tournament?
As far as our guys, or just
any weight class?
The great thing about it, the Nationals is such a great event. I mean, it's really, you got so many different teams competing in there, and it's, as a person like Hofstra, or a team like Hofstra that's going to go out there, and we'll take our, maybe 100 fans and stuff out there, and it'll be great. But the great thing about it is when you go up against a guy from Penn State, or a guy Minnesota, these guys that are going to be in a team race, and the whole arena adapts your guy to go up against that person, and it's really an unbelievable feeling when you hear 15,000 people cheering for you, and our guys really like that. So the whole event is just unbelievable. The weight classes, I mean, there's so many good weight classes that I'm looking forward to as a fan of the sport. 141 pounds, 184 pounds. You get guys like, those are the weight classes that I see people really, tuning into, because there's such great storylines when you got an Ed Root going for his 3rd title, but he's been beat by a freshman this year, and you have the 2-time defending champ at 141, who could go in as a 2 or a 3 seed. He's been beat by a true freshman, and then so there's all these weight classes that just have so many storylines to it. It's just an unbelievable event. I want our guys to go out there, enjoy it, not be overwhelmed by it, and compete to the best of their ability, so that they leave that place in Oklahoma City with no regrets about the way their performance or the way their tournament or career for some of these guys, Luke, Jamie, and Joe. This is going to be the last time they put on a singlet, especially for this university. So we just want them to go out there and finish their careers off the way they started it, hard work, being composed, and really living up to their potential.
Finally, Coach, what's the mantra going to be to make some noise at the tournament this week?
The same as it always is. Just wrestle within yourself, compete hard, and match your opponent's intensity.
Thanks so much for the time, Coach. Thank you. Remember, Hofstra fans, you can tune into the WB Mason Coaches Report each and every week right here on GoHofstra.com.